Dear friends, let me begin by thanking you all for your work over the past days. I am so proud of you for this display of dedication. You inspire me with hope. I must extend special thanks to you, Maud. Throughout your distinguished career, you have helped to create a path to empower meaningful advocacy and continues to inspire the sector. Delphine, you represent our hope for the future, taking up this responsibility as a role model for your generation. I must thank Ruth and her team at the President's Foundation for making this conference a reality. I would also like to thank Maud and Ruth together for trying so hard to present our recommendations during the informal meetings of European Home Affairs and Justice Ministers. We must work together to ensure that these recommendations are not left to gather dust. We must, each one of us, in whatever capacity, endeavor to disseminate them to all relevant stakeholders across Europe. Most importantly of all, we have the responsibility to ensure that our message of hope for the future of missing migrant children is heard by the peoples of our nations. We must continue to encourage our politicians to be the leaders we need at this crucial time in the history of our Union. We cannot let the cry of populists thriving on the fears and concerns of our peoples have the final word. I believe that we must continue to be catalysts so that the reform of our systems will be met with an equally powerful cultural revolution. We must ensure that these reforms and policies will have direct effects on our communities and the mentalities and attitudes of our peoples. We must do all that we can to ensure that the core values of solidarity, of peace and well-being, which are at the heart of our organizations and institutions, are well understood within our societies. We must work together to ensure that these values are truly and credibly reflected in all our communities. I am pleased to note that this process of dialogue amongst us has shown how steadfast we are in our commitment to end the contravention of human rights, which occurs as a result of failing systems. These systems have proven themselves unable to meet the standards of care which our nations are duty-bound to provide. We cannot celebrate agreements and compacts which offer short-sighted solutions. I believe that this process of dialogue is giving us the strength to boldly say that half-baked solutions and lip service are unacceptable. We have come together to affirm that what is needed are long-term, deep-rooted reforms of our status quo. I feel that this two-day dialogue has created a strong bond amongst us. It sends a powerful message against the status quo, which continues to create a missing generation of children. These children have heard the promises of our democratic societies, but do not receive the protection and effective access to human rights, which is, after all, their due. We cannot allow the empty rhetoric of extremists with their false patriotism and dangerous populism to cloud the judgment of the governments of our nations. Our work is not easy. We must transcend the petty divisions of partisan politics. We must transcend national borders. We must transcend the boundaries imposed by our different roles. We must be united in synergy to send one message, to promote one mission, to safeguard one human family. We must continue to make visible the fact that children are the largest and most vulnerable migrating group. We must continue to prioritize the voices and the experiences of children. These must be at the center of a common European action plan on migration. We must ensure the importance of placing the well-being of all children at the center of a socially inclusive Europe. Our dialogue has affirmed that the needs and the dignity of children must be a top priority in all European policies on migration. I think I can speak on behalf of all of us when I say that we are facing a global challenge and that in response we need a powerful global solution. Let us work to make our politicians realize that Europe's role as a founder and promoter of democracy and human rights should not be put to history. Let us therefore continue to work to make the authorities realize that Europe has a duty to be a credible force for the implementation of universal human rights and freedoms within our nations, and to be a strong impetus to drive the international community into effective action. Watching yesterday's documentary, The Invisible City, Kakuma, with its story of child migrants and their desire for a better life through education and empowerment, I was reminded of a powerful personal experience. Last year, on an official visit to Australia, I was honored to meet Maltese Australians who had arrived in that country during the 1950s and 60s. Some of them were sent to Australia in order to improve their education and arrived as unaccompanied Maltese child migrants. I heard their experiences of suffering, of fear, and of loneliness. Many of them faced exploitation, rape, and neglect. Many of these survivors still carry the scars of their terrible experiences after such a long time. We are very much aware that such experiences are still occurring in real time and affecting children from across the world. Watching Kakuma made me realize that what happened 60 years ago to Maltese child migrants is still happening today to other innocent children. What happened to European children then is still happening now. At this moment, I would like to take the opportunity to convey my heartfelt thanks to the young people who shared their experiences of migration as unaccompanied children during this conference. Their bravery and openness is an example to us, to our authorities, and our communities. Let me also say that each one of us, wherever and whoever we are, derive our deepest humanity and our most powerful mandate as citizens of this world from our ability to love. I have spoken about the duty we share as members of one European Union and one human family. Please, at the end of this conference, permit me to speak directly to the people of Malta, as this is a moment of great importance in the life of my country. We, as a Maltese nation, have throughout our history survived great oppression and struggles. We have become strong enough to play a role of significance, reaching out to other countries and cultures from our home, here in the center of the Mediterranean Sea. We are a people of welcome, as we welcomed the shipwrecked Apostle Paul. We are a people of care, as we demonstrate in the great outpouring of generosity at Listrina each year. Let us also be a people of love. Let us show our children and that every child deserves the peace, the well-being, and the hope which we wish to see in our families, our communities, and our nation. To paraphrase the words of Nelson Mandela, there is no clearer reflection of a society's soul than the way in which it treats the children in its care. Malta's presidency of the Council of the European Union gives us the opportunity to show our worth as people of Malta, to show our children that solidarity and love can transform our nation, our region, and the world. Dear brothers and sisters, let's stand up to be counted. Finally, I must reiterate my heartfelt thanks to all of you for participating so strongly during this conference. It is my deepest wish that the momentum we have created will continue to gain strength. It is my hope that we shall create a meaningful change in policy, in strategy, and in perspective, both within our nations and the European Union, and also across the globe. Let us never stop doing all that we can to empower, to nurture, and to celebrate the dignity and well-being of each and every child. The center of the European presidency may be in Valletta, but thanks to your incredible passion, the heart of Europe is here with us in Verdala. This is what Europe is all about. Thank you.